Good morning, good day, good evening. I borrowed that from Michael uh, Neil again. I'm sorry. Hello, beautiful audience out there in the world, and welcome to episode number 19, which is the second part of our Caroline and my chat about resilient children. Hello, Caroline.
Hi, Christopher. Hi, everyone.
Good morning to you,
Good
Caroline.
morning to you and everyone else. Yes, thank you for joining us today.
Um, After ending our first episode about resilient children, episode number 18, the first part, I had these thoughts and um, I was so insecure about myself.
Mhm.
I was thinking, oh, was that really good enough? Was that was that episode? Did I really perform the way I want to perform? And
Mhm.
that it really kept my brain going a lot. What do you think that comes from?
Yes, this is such a universal experience, I think, Christopher. When we tie our own value as a person to what we do, then we're at the risk of never being satisfied with what we do. It's never going to be
Mm,
good. So we have to find where it comes from. Like, when and where did we internalize this narrative
hmm
that's not really aligned with our growth, right? It's not really helping us. It has not helped me. So I can tell you that. And I had a time in my life where I was more perfectionistic and
hmm
I decided to let go of that. So, but sometimes it just comes back. I relapse on this. Like recently, I gave a talk and I'm like, oh, I don't know if it was well received. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, some people give me feedback, but those who stayed silent, does that mean they didn't like it? And yes, I had a similar experience. So
Yes.
I think it's normal. Yeah.
And if I may take that up as another point, I hope that's okay for you. Uh,
Yes.
would you like to share your thought about the venue you have in your home today
Oh,
after our
yes. Yes. I guess an example that's related, yeah, to what you're saying is I'm hosting this evening with for a group of parents, and I was tidying up when we started the recording, or just before, and then you said, "Well, are they coming to see you or the house?" And I said, "Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. They're coming so that we can see each other. The venue doesn't really matter, but I like to make it appealing. So that's my own standard here that might get in the way, right? And I have to
Right.
just make sure that I keep that in perspective, and I don't let that narrative of wanting to be perfect dominate my
Mhm.
approach. So, and I know it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be decent and welcoming and cozy. That's all that matters. It's going to be aligned with who I am. So, but yeah, we can sometimes just lose perspective and disproportionately spend time with, doing these things that will never end anyway, cleaning
Mm.
up or making it perfect. So it's going to be as it is, and I'm sure it's going to be fine. So it's a good practice. So thank you for bringing that up because I'm practicing it, just the letting go of perfection,
Yeah.
right?
And so am I, and I take away from what you just said to myself and my negative thoughts about my performance in the episode before this one. Uh, the main goal is to feel cozy, right? You used that word just now. And
Yes,
in our chat, we want to feel cozy. That's our main goal from the beginning, right? We
yes.
we we do this mainly for ourselves, and if anyone out there can take just a tiny bit away from it from our chat, and
Hmm.
and it improves their lives, wonderful.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
uh, then that's it. And if if they take away that, I'm not going to listen to this guy anymore, then that's it. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, and then we move on, and that's okay, right? We should
Right.
not let that create a barrier to our own expansion.
Hmm.
And I think it's very relevant to today's topic of discussion, which is how to raise resilient children, part two, because sometimes parents expect perfection from their children. Do you want to give some examples?
Wonderful. Oh, I am so grateful for this wonderful bridge. How did you manage to do that? Well, that's good.
You're
Okay,
inspiring.
I love it. So, go on, Carly.
Well, we were just discussing before recording that the way we approached our kids' performances in school was very embracing of their own path and rhythm, right? I
Right.
know you and myself have not expected our children to have impeccable grades. You know, we want them to do what they can, and we want them to have fun also in learning, first of all, right?
Hmm.
That's the
Hmm.
important thing. So, and I like what you said, but I'll let you say it in your own way. But really, our role is to be parents and to guide our children and accompany them and also have them learn from their mistakes and not
Hmm.
shame them from that. So I think when a parent expects impossible performances from their children, they need to look at their own selves, right? Like, are they happy with who they are, or are they trying to project their unhappiness onto their children and they want their children to perform so they feel better about themselves? So is it about themselves rather
Hmm.
than the child? So we have to keep the child always at the center of that and be attuned to their own development. Every child grows at different paces, right? Like their dimensions grows, each dimension grows at a different pace. I know for myself, I was not super good in sports, and eventually I found my own activity that I was good at, but I was always a poor physical education performer, and but I was doing fine in class. So it's like we have different areas of our development that um, are not really aligned, and that's beautiful. That's what makes each child unique, and the
Hmm.
parents
Yes.
just foster their growth and development. Focus on the improvement rather than okay, outcome, perfection, A plus, whatever. It's great if they do have that, but the children should not feel like they're gonna be less than if they don't have a perfect grade, right?
Right.
It's a grade. It doesn't define us. It doesn't
I,
define the child.
from my experience in school, in the school world, here in Sweden, um, where I have been working in schools, I've and met both students and parents, of course, and teachers, and being a parent of myself. And it's interesting how different the roles are, but
Mhm.
how much teachers and parents expect from each other to step into their roles.
Mhm.
So let's see, teachers often would like to would like the parents to push their children from home to do better
Mhm.
in special topics in school, and if where the teacher think they're underperforming. And yes, that is to a certain extent very nice and good and thoughtful and important that the parents engage in their uh, children's school performance.
Mhm.
But there's a big but here.
Mhm.
uh, the it should never go the way where the children feel uncomfortable opening up at home about their school experience, right? This is not about having best grades all of the time. At home, the children's home should be their place to rest, to feel safe,
Yes.
to come and tell their parents at any time,
Hmm.
morning, day, and night, about their experiences in life, right? And if
Yes.
they get this role of their parent wrongly, if they think, oh, he or she, they're just going to push me away because I'm not good enough, because I'm bad in school, and this this
Hmm.
I could imagine that this doesn't feel good for the child. It
Hmm.
confuses them what is right and what is wrong, or who's doing what in the the teacher and who's the parent, who's the
Yeah.
one that pushes me, who's the one that tickles the best out of me in, I don't know, math or
Yeah.
PE, physical education, or where can I go to and actually cry my eyes out because I don't know, it's just too much.
Yes. What you're describing beautifully is what conditional versus unconditional love is. And true love is
Thank you.
unconditional, right?
Yes, yes.
So kids should go to their parents for anything, no matter how they performed or how well or bad they behaved. I mean,
Hmm.
they go to them knowing that the parent will always accept them as they are and not shame them for their mistakes. And yes, that being a parent therefore is a different role than the teacher, who might have different standards,
Hmm.
um, and it's a different framework. And the coach, okay, there's a performance and it's going to affect the rest of the team if you just goof off, whatever. So the coach has to set some boundaries or redirect the child, but the parent can do that too, can support the coach. But okay, you made a mistake. Being home is always safe to go back to,
Hmm.
when you can process that sense of failure or shame you had because you didn't perform like you wanted, and the
Hmm.
parent be there to reassure that it's going to be okay. It's like
Right.
we that, and it's not all of you. You're not that. It happened to you, and how can we make the best out of the situation? So the parent is very important in that regard. Yeah.
Hmm. And if I turn that around, the parents often expect the teachers to keep the behavior of the children in school
Yeah.
in some boundaries, which
Right.
to a certain extent, again, is important, yes.
Hmm.
But if the children don't come into school and don't know at least the basics of how to behave, how to not
Hmm.
bully, how to not
Right.
how to listen or not be loud and distract others from learning, then well, the teachers are there, yes, but if the basics aren't there, then of course it's, yeah. Sorry to say, but maybe it's the parents that did not
Hmm.
do their job, or should step up a little more to
Yeah.
tell the children, okay, this is not the behavior I want you to show
Hmm.
in school.
Yes, and I think that reminds me of really like how everyone has ownership. Every
Mm,
adult in a child's life, like the parents should model good values and kindness and respect of others, and so that the teacher can focus on other children who have difficulties academically rather than focus on behavioral issues from a child who has not been modeled good behavior at home,
mm,
or so everyone needs to do their own role and to support each other in the child's development.
mm,
So yeah, and but it can overlap for sure, yes. But parents should interfere, or not interfere, intervene in the school if, let's say, there is bullying and the school system is not creating a safe space or setting boundaries. So the parents should say something about that. But otherwise, they should focus on the life at home, hoping that the child will import the good
mm.
stuff to school, and that will make everything smooth in the learning process and in the classroom.
I think it was an African proverb that says it takes
Yeah.
a village to raise a child.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and that is so true. Uh,
It
and
it is.
the roles are there are no
Mhm.
straight boundaries between the roles. They're all interconnected, and it's a team
Yeah,
effort of everyone. It's a team effort between
right.
parents, teachers, and society. Well,
Society.
if I
Yeah.
see a child or an adolescent misbehave in public, then
Hmm.
I go there and let them know
Hmm.
that this behavior is not okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, this the mirror that many people and also adults need
Hmm.
uh, once in a
Right.
while to you're showing this behavior to me, or I perceive your behavior as this. Is that really what you want to show right now? Is that the best you can do? Is that the
Yeah.
image you want people to have from you? And that's a very important thing to sometimes mention to children, to our children, and
Yeah.
just becoming a little more aware of their own external picture. What is it I want to, what kind of uh, person would I like to be right now?
Yes, and it really ties nicely with a thought I had about how it's important not only to expose our children to different points of view and perspectives,
Hmm.
also to different role models, because only the parents, you know, are not sufficient to help or guide the child, right? It's really like the more the merrier. I feel like the more people who love a child, the better for the child.
Yes.
So that's a little tip for possessive parents who really think that, oh, only them know how to do this with their
Hmm.
child, or how they only them know to teach the kid. But no, there are other people. Everyone has their own biases, including the parents, right? So we need to realize that we're limited, and we're becoming more and more limited as the child grows up and expands his horizons and world
Hmm.
and possibilities. Then they need mentorship. They need, yeah, coaches. They need friends. They need extended relatives.
Hmm.
So yeah, it takes a village, and it's actually helping the child build their resilience if they are more supportive adults in their lives other than the parents.
Exactly.
Hmm. And
Right.
yeah.
I did have a thought just 10 seconds ago, but that thought
Mhm.
disappeared again.
Happens to me all the time. Sorry.
Oh, oh well,
Yes.
real life. Um, okay. Um, Let me see. So in there are some points we wanted to convey to our audience about what we or we all as parents can do in real life at home to you know just make a small difference for our children to the for hopefully to the better.
Yeah.
Um, oh, before we get to that, that thought came
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
Um, we were talking about it takes a village, and this is especially for you because I know you're doing a lot of important work with traumatized people,
Mhm.
and sometimes I've heard that people with such unbelievable memories and experiences, and sometimes have the the picture that there was not one adult that was on their side in
Mhm.
their childhood.
Mhm.
And I think I remember someone uh, said there is always some adult that is
Mhm.
on the side of the child, and that they work with the then
Mhm.
adult to find out who this was and what it was that this person did that helped them. So just a glimpse of sunshine in their otherwise often dark world. How are your own experiences from your practice?
Yeah, so what I see that is actually sometimes more traumatic than the trauma itself. Let's say a child has been a victim of sexual abuse, is to
Mm,
have been invalidated or dismissed or not
mm,
believed. So again, the parent's role is to take the child seriously, to
yes.
believe until proven otherwise. Because if the child goes to a parent saying, this person did this to me, and the parent is not protecting the child or reassuring the child, and the parent, I'm afraid to say, failed.
Mm,
And I don't want to judge a parent. I think it indicates that there's something about the parent that has been triggered, and maybe they have a blind spot and they refuse to acknowledge this horrific reality that something could do that to their children or their child. But I think the parent needs to get support if that is the case. If they're tempted to dismiss a child in that situation, they really need extra support because the child needs that protection. And that could help the child heal from that
yes.
horrific event or trauma. So I call that invalidation trauma when it happens. And I cannot tell you, Christopher, how many times I've heard people tell me like that story of being abused as a child. But the worst for them was when they were not believed, because then they had nowhere else to go. If the parent doesn't believe them, who's going to believe them? The counselor
Exactly.
at school, the teacher, the friend, So then they retreat in their world of shame, and it's not even their shame to bear. So yeah, so
Yes,
that's what I encounter. I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does.
and
Yeah.
then yeah, and as a person working that field, my role is to try to repair that and say, okay, I'm
Hmm.
sorry what happened to you, and oh my gosh, I cannot imagine what it might have been like for you to not only go through this, but not being believed. And I'm here to support you, and I take that seriously, and and yeah, I believe you, and this was not your fault. So
Yes.
that's sometimes the first step towards healing is creating that safe space where they can trust and trying to repair that. But we can't prevent those traumas. We can. So that's why I'm talking about this.
Yes.
See the long
A-
term damage. Yeah.
and I would like to really emphasize this, the importance of exactly this to validate not only children but your colleagues,
Hmm.
your friend, just telling them, "Oh, this must be horrible. I believe you. Let's look at this some more and ask interested questions and be there."
Right.
This is of so much value. I really can only
Hmm.
emphasize that. Right. So practices at home. What
Yeah.
can we as parents do better uh, in some easy ways?
Hmm.
Most of us have a stressful day when we get home from work and we see the children and we fix dinner and we have to look over the homework and help the children with school and listen to them and it's packed. I get it.
Yeah.
So somewhere in there, how can we find time to actually practice some easy steps to let the children feel, okay,
Hmm.
I am growing from inside.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Well, I think if the parent is able to live in the moment more, that's going to
Mm,
help the child because then they'll be more attuned to the child's experience and then they can bond and interact in a way that's positive, that's supportive. So I would say do whatever you can to ground yourself as parents. And then the child will kind of model after that behavior, or often the child will do that. And there are our
mhm,
teachers, right? I think the children are really good at being in the moment. So we should really pay attention to that and use those reminders to be back in the moment and not being caught up in
mm,
our agenda and to-do list and like the packed schedules, like you said.
yes.
But sometimes it's we're just pausing everything. And it's important to have pauses between activities,
Mm,
right? So It helps with the regulation, and it helps to parent with intention.
Yes.
Parenting with intention, knowing each moment what we're doing and why,
Mm.
right? And that's how we break the cycles of trauma that we might have inherited. We can break those patterns by being intentional. Okay, I know I'm stressed right now, but I'm going to make an extra effort in being playful with my child because, when I was little, my parents didn't play with me. I wanted them to play with me, and I suffered from
Hmm.
this. That's parenting with intention.
Because we are not managers, we are parents, first of
Love
all,
it.
right?
Yes, we are parents and we're human beings
Hmm.
in the role of a parent. And yeah, we can leave our job and our egos at the door, preferably
Yeah,
when we come home.
you're right.
Yeah.
And yes, it's not easy. I know. I'm sure many of our listeners and viewers say, "Oh, well, that's easier said than done." Yeah, it is. Welcome. But and this brings me to the next point of
Mhm.
easy ways to implement that at home. Name it to tame it. Uh,
Yeah.
it's if we get overwhelmed with our stressful day at work and we come home and we see the children, oh, you haven't done your homework yet. Oh, the food is burnt. Uh,
Mhm.
everything just goes wrong. Okay, what is happening right now? Name it. What is
Yeah.
happening?
Right. Name
What
it.
is happening inside me? What is happening out there? Am I
Right.
stressed? Why am I stressed?
Mm.
Am I stressed because my son or daughter didn't make their didn't I don't know understand their homework? Oh no,
Mhm.
I have to dig up geometry from I don't know fifth grade.
Mhm.
How was that? I'm stressed even more.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
let's learn together. How was it?
Yeah.
And uh, and there are thousands of different things how we could do that. But name it to tame it is, I think, a wonderful and easy step to do it. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Wow, I love that, Christopher, because what you're just illustrating now is the power of self-awareness.
Hmm.
Like when you pause and there's a moment that's stressful or tense, and then you're trying to understand what's going on, trying to decode the emotional temperature, and
Yeah.
you realize, oh, it's kind of about me. It's not about my kids' struggle. It's like my own struggle that has not been resolved, for instance, and then I get
Hmm.
activated. And so, okay, how about I regulate and then put that aside and then, okay,
Hmm.
come back into now. And then we're more effective in helping them. So, yeah, I think it's important to name it, like you said, and tame it. I think naming things, and that's why I'm really a big fan of writing and journaling, is a way to free ourselves too. Once you name a
Yes.
reality, you can let it go. It's like, oh, this is what I did. Now I understand. Because if we don't name it, we do that unconsciously. We kind of enact stuff that are not helpful.
Hmm.
But naming it to taming it, yeah. You name it, you absolutely. It captures a reality, puts it into words, literally, like
Hmm.
in a sentence, and it's like there. It's like in the words
Right.
now. Bye bye. Thank you. I no longer need you.
How
Right?
can
It can.
we help our children employing this in uh,
Mhm.
no, not employing, that was the wrong word, applying this into their lives?
We can think out loud about our own process and tell them, okay, this is what happened to me when I reacted this way. It's because, oh yeah, blah blah blah,
Hmm.
and now I'm doing this now, and the child will ask question and be curious, and then that's helpful for them. So I think yeah, or we can guide them as they go through that, but without putting too much words onto their own reality, right? But
Hmm.
giving also some kind of emotional vocabulary, sometimes, or asking them where do they feel the emotion, what it is like now in their body, and tell them, yeah, that could be that you're anxious, you're stressed about something,
Hmm.
and what could that be, and what could we do about that? So kind of coaching them a little bit or guiding them in
Right.
de-escalating an uncomfortable experience.
And here's a reminder: children in are recorders, right? They're recording uh, behavior they see and experience around them. And if
Right.
they see this way to tackle um, stressful situations uh,
Hmm.
in life, that's something that they might copy later.
Yes.
So they see, oh, this works, or even if they doesn't necessarily need to work, right? We if we look back in our own lives and how our the adults in our lives have behaved and what we
Hmm.
both in good and bad copied from their behaviors and what
Yeah.
took a lot of energy to get rid of later.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
this is the behavior we want the kids to copy, right? So
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
awareness. Is this
Hmm.
the parent I want to be right now? Is this the guidance I want to give right now?
Yes.
So can
I
help
love.
us too to become a
Yeah.
better parent.
Yes. Parenting ourselves in the process in a way that we wanted to be parented.
Right.
And therefore, yeah, we will be more likely to be the parent that our kid needs, you
Mm.
know? So, but we need to attend to our needs and, yeah, take care of our wounds, like we talked about last time. So, yeah,
Mm.
it's a process. It is a
Something
process
that
for
comes
everyone.
up in my practice often is the question, what would the, like, just a name, what would the 8-year-old Linda want to
Mhm.
tell you now?
Yeah.
And then, wow, so we pull up our own childhood, the child in ourselves to
Hmm.
help us what we need now.
Hmm.
Uh, so we remember ourselves of the child and ourselves to be the guidant force that helps us to find exactly what we need and what we want to have right now. That is very
Hmm.
powerful.
So what you're saying, Christopher, is that we should listen to this child in us as whispers to guide
Yes.
our actions. Yeah. Yeah, because we all have a wounded child in us. We all have
Hmm.
this child who has not listened to or and
Yes.
now we can listen because we have some healing to do and the
Hmm.
wisdom comes from that wounded child, I think.
It
Yeah.
does. Yes, it does.
Wow,
Right.
that's powerful.
Another thing that parents can try to implement into their daily or weekly routines are daily connections with their children, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
How
Asking the
could
child
they,
about, yeah, their day. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, what ideas do you have about that?
Yeah, I feel like doing things as a household, as a family, as a group is important to create those connections. And so having a common goal, but also just simply being together. We don't have to
Hmm.
do something, right? It's really about being in nature. And I know you do that a
Hmm.
lot. It's very inspiring. Yes, problem solving together, co-creating together, creating
Hmm.
those energies. It's good for the child's self-esteem too, and their sense of self-efficacy to know that they can participate and contribute, to an
Yeah.
activity or a task. And I feel like celebrating life in each moment. It's not always possible, but whenever we see beauty and we should
Hmm.
acknowledge and also celebrate our child's worth. And I I feel like it's not mutually exclusive to celebrate other people. It's not like, okay, if we focus on our child, that means others are left out. No, if we focus on ourselves and everyone else,
Hmm.
I think rather than just shutting that down, I think everyone needs their day and or their moment to shine, whether it's their birthday or something that they've accomplished, like they're graduating. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, we should celebrate that, of course. Yeah,
And small things every day. They're so
right.
important. Have Many people have totally lost the ability to, take the right hand, lay it on your left shoulder and clap yourself. Well
Yeah,
done. That's
yeah,
okay. And there's nothing shameful about that. That's actually very
yeah.
important. And even small steps. If you
Mhm,
had a great day, if you I don't
mhm.
know, uh,
Right.
impressed yourself or your spouse or your boss or your children.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yes, well
yeah.
done.
It's about exactly reframing the brain towards the positive because we can be grateful for this acknowledgement and we want to share with others
Hmm.
um, and it invites the child who receives to also give, right?
Yes.
So give those acknowledgments. So it's just a chain, and I think we should nourish it. We should
Hmm.
maintain um, active. Yeah,
And resilience is here in this example is even to show our children how important it is to step up for themselves if no one
hmm,
else is there that steps up for them. Uh,
yeah,
Sometime in life, well, it's okay to be proud of yourself. It's
right,
okay to have positive self-talk and
yeah,
accomplish small
right,
things that we ourselves have done right in with our inner voice, right? Well,
yeah.
yeah, Christopher, well done.
Yes, and I remember it brings back some memories here. I mean, I always loved drawing, and I
Hmm.
remember I had won a contest of drawing like in my school for the it was the bank or community bank, whatever. It was a co-op, whatever. But there was this yearly contest, and I had told my friend, and I was 8 or 9 at the time. Hey, do you know what? I won the contest, or I was selected, whatever, in my class. And she said, well, don't brag about yourself. And from that on, then I
Oh.
was just shutting myself down for any accomplishment. I was not daring to say it. And even though I was excited for others who would also, you know, perform or
Hmm.
something, I felt like, why? Why can't I also be happy about
Yes.
my own success, so to speak? And I've been very careful, like intentional with my kids
Hmm.
whenever there's something positive would happen to celebrate that because it was really hard for me to be shut down like that. And I know that this person, it comes from a place of envy, and you see how envy can be destructive, right?
Hmm.
But thankfully, I had parents who were affirming, even though they were not pushing me to perform, and that was
Hmm.
good. They were also happy. Oh, good for you. Great. I'm proud of
Yes.
you. You know, you worked hard. Okay. So that kind of helped balance things out. But those words can have a damaging effect. Like
Hmm.
someone trying to shut your light. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, so sad. But
It is.
well, so good that you found out where it came from and that you
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
able to turn that around. And this is not about bragging. This is about
Right.
having a positive self-image, right?
Yes, it is. And it took some work, Christopher, because remember what you mentioned at the beginning. Yeah, my echo in my head has been like, who do you think you are? Right? It's like occasionally I hear it, and it's because
Hmm.
I've encountered other people in my life who were like this person. You know
That's
how
also very Swedish, I must say.
to say that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. So that's the narrative that I kind of internalized, and now I'm letting go of it.
Hmm.
I'm taking up my own space, and it doesn't take anyone's space away from them. So it's
Right.
like now I'm
Exactly.
letting myself be,
Yes.
and I have no problem with that. But it was a process again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
You
so
met,
please you can
sorry.
do that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And our last tip of the day, so to say, what to implement at home for helping our children to become more resilient are are the pauses, right? You mentioned that
Mhm.
a little earlier, model the pauses.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
when
Right.
we feel, oh, something's happening inside of me, the emotions are starting to boil.
Hmm.
Okay, I need
Yeah.
to, I don't know, go outside with the bare feet and go on, stand on the lawn for 2 minutes with bare feet and ground myself, or uh,
Yes.
just sit down and look at, just made this up, a candle, uh, just small 10-second meditations. Uh,
Right.
these are wonderful pauses, right? And it's something
Yes.
that I have seen a lot of, is many children don't know anymore how to have, how to be bored.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that's a topic for a whole other podcast, how to
Oh,
build
yeah.
boredom tolerance, because this is very important. I think boredom is important to
Hmm.
eventually like creativity, and kids are not taught to cope with that anymore. They're taught to escape from boredom.
Right.
It's like it's a bad thing. We need to fill up our time, our minds all the time. No, boredom is like we find our silence inside. It's
Yes.
important. It's meditation.
Right.
It's tolerating the lack of sensation.
Hmm.
We know that life cannot be always excitement. So, yeah, I agree. So, grounding yourself, like you said, touching the earth or putting your feet on the earth, or doing a focus meditation, focusing on
Hmm.
one, or counting things in the surroundings that are green or that we can touch, or etc. So, doing a
Yeah.
countdown, that's another grounding technique. Yeah.
Have you
Mhm.
ever heard of the British author Enid Blyton?
No.
She's, I think she wrote most of her books in the 50s and 60s. And there was a whole series, a long series of books about four friends and their dog and
Mhm.
their adventures. And
Okay.
it's so interesting. I'm reading that with the kids every evening right now, and it's so interesting to fly back in time into a childhood without tablets and phones and
Mhm.
TV, and children actually had boring times. That there were
Mhm.
the long summer recess started, and oh well, what are we
Mhm.
doing now? Oh, so they actually sit there and are bored.
Yeah.
Wow, and that's where creativity comes from, right?
Yes.
Without
Yes.
boredom, there's no
Yeah.
creativity. Okay, and many children expect and
Mhm.
are given from many of their parents a sort of entertainer role.
Mhm.
Parents
Yeah.
are not entertainers. Uh, I think it is very important to let uh, children have their own ideas how
Mm.
they could spend their time, right? What could I do now? Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Hmm. That's so important to to have this creativity and not
It
take that away from them.
yes, I like the free play kind of approach, and it's
Yes.
unfortunate because the birthday parties here in this country, in the US, is like so regimented. It's for 2 hours. So you have like, okay, the first half hour, the kids have a game and it's in a venue. And then the second half hour is like the pizza. And then the last hour is like the cake. And then it's gone. And it's like, when do the kids play together or get to know each other? I hate
Right.
those. I hate those. Whenever I hosted birthday parties for my kids when they were little, there was
Hmm.
nothing like it. It was like, oh, well, they want to do a piñata. Okay, fine. Oh, they want to do a treasure hunt. Okay, fine. Well, now let's
Hmm.
play. I'm doing this. I'm preparing food. You know, and there was no fixed schedule. But it's like,
Right.
anyway, so it feels very, yeah, oppressive to me. And boredom,
Managed.
tolerating it is the opposite of that. It's like
Hmm.
there's freedom in boredom. It rhymes.
Right.
There's freedom in
Yeah,
boredom.
exactly.
Have to cultivate it a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think it's time to wrap up this episode then. So,
Yes.
I
Yes.
uh, I hope you
Mhm.
all, dear listeners and viewers, found something in this episode too that you find interesting or valuable. So, if you did, please let us know in the comments. And oh yeah, we do have a Facebook page, the
Yes.
Dandelion um, Reflections.
Yeah. You can
Uh,
follow us. Yeah.
yes, please. And yeah, any words from you?
Again, great dialogue, Christopher. And thank you to all our dandelions of fellow dandelions listening and looking forward to more exchanges and insights. And thank you for listening today and for joining us.
Yes, thank you very
And,
much.
and celebrate your worth and pause and be with your child.
Yes,
And you've got this. Listen to the child in you too. Yeah. Pay attention to that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Be the parent that you wished you had.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Thanks a lot and see
Thank
you
you.
next time. Bye bye.
Next time. Bye.
So now I need to. There it is. Bye bye.